Hello again, fellow YouTubers. This is Dan, and this is just going to be a quick video on the takedown and disassembly and reassembly of the Walther P22. I decided to go ahead and do a video on the disassembly and reassembly of the P22 because it's a little bit of a quirky pistol to take apart, and not the easiest pistol in the world, but definitely it's not a Ruger Mark II or III, but it does have its own unique challenges there, and once you've done it 3 or 4 times, it's a cakewalk. But I decided that I would just go ahead and add another video on YouTube to service this particular pistol. Now we're going to go ahead and do our safety check right quick. I'm going to drop the magazine. Sorry, the camera went a little fuzzy there. And then I'm going to rack the slide. And we are totally safe there. So, when taking apart and reassembling the P22, you're going to need a couple of items. One, the disassembly wrench that comes with the P22. This is a metric wrench, so if you ever do lose this, you should be able to find a wrench in your toolkit to disassemble this pistol. And then there's also a little tool here that helps you to reassemble the guide rod. To put the recoil spring back onto the guide rod. This is a very useful tool. I know some people have some reviews where they can put it together without the rod, but I really like the use of this. So we're going to go ahead and take this pistol apart. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually remove the laser that I have put on this weapon. This is a Walther proprietary laser, so this is designed to fit the Walther P22 perfectly. Gives it a nice snug fit. So you'll most basic packages do not include this, but there's a lot of packages that do. So you just go ahead and pull down on these switches right here, and then pull it off the front. And next, what we're going to do is actually remove the magazine, and then we're going to pull the takedown lever, which is located right on the front of the pistol, right above the trigger guard, and right in front of the trigger. It has these little serrated edges, so you know that's the takedown switch. So just going to go ahead and pull that down. When it's brand new, it is very tight, so it takes a little bit of effort to pull down, but you'll get it. There we go. And from here, you're actually going to rack the slide back and then gently lift up when the slide reaches the end of its cycle. So we're going to go ahead and pull this back totally, and then just gently pull up. Now you want to be careful at this step because the recoil spring is fully compressed, and it will fly off if you're not very careful. So we're just going to slide this forward, and there you have the slide. And you have the guide rod and recoil spring. So we're just going to put those, separate those, and put them right up here. Now you're going to need that little wrench that came with your Walther P22 to dismantle the barrel for a nice thorough cleaning. So you just want to go ahead and give it a little twist. And then once you've loosened it up, you can remove it by hand after that. Alrighty. Next, we're going to remove the barrel sheath. This helps to protect the barrel right there. And then this is another tricky part of this pistol. The barrel itself is very low tolerance here, so there's not a lot of room to manipulate it from the frame here. So you're going to pull it back here and then just kind of wiggle it out, just like that. And there you have it, the basic disassembly of the Walther P22. You have all its components here: your slide, your frame, your grip frame, your barrel, barrel sheath, magazine, and your guide rod and recoil spring. Now to reassemble the P22, you basically just do everything in reverse. So first you're going to start by taking the barrel and inserting it back into its little housing there. But before I actually do that, I want to note a couple of just things that I've noticed with the P22. With any pistol, you're going to get some friction that's going to give wear to the pistol, and that's actually why I like to get blued frame pistols for any pistol that I plan on putting a lot of rounds through. That way I can actually see where it's being worn down to help preserve the service life of the pistol. You know, I can get a little bit of more viscous oil to help lubricate those particular parts that are in contact with a lot of friction. And you'll see actually the guide rails will take a lot of abuse, especially once you start getting over a couple thousand rounds. You'll start seeing a little bit of silver showing. So you know, you actually have to take a little bit more care of those particular parts. So that's just something to keep in mind for all of you guys out there. You can see that pretty well on camera here, and not too bad on the other side. So it's a little bit more snug on that side. So just something to point out there. So I'm going to go ahead and reinsert my barrel. Now we're going to put the sheath back on, and the sheath actually has a little notch on the bottom here. This is this part that lays abreast to the frame, with that little notch there, if you can see that. Then we're just going to slide that right on, and then just give it a little twist just to make sure that it's snugly in place. You're going to take your nut here and screw that on, mostly by hand. And to finish that off, you're going to take your little wrench and get a little bit tighter. Now you don't want to over tighten that. That will definitely ruin the threads there, and that'll prevent you from reassembling the pistol, and also prevent you from adding some of the cool accessories like the suppressor that you can get for this. You know, for those of you that don't have a Class 3 license, you can actually get a fake suppressor that gives it a cool look. And more importantly, it actually adds a little bit of weight to the front of it, making it a lot more balanced. So, you know, it gives it the James Bond look, but it does give it a actual practical use for it. So, highly recommend that if you're using this as a target pistol, to get that little accessory. Then we're going to take the recoil spring and guide rod, and this is where you're going to have to use that little dowel here. So what I recommend doing is actually just placing the recoil spring and the guide rod down on a flat surface, and then just completely, let's zoom in right there, let's see if we can get a better look there, and just completely compressing the spring. So once the spring is compressed, you're going to put the flat portion of the little rod here right abreast to the guide rod, and then just let it slowly expand out. Now, I know a lot of guys have done reviews where they don't use this rod. Personally, I like it. It makes it a lot easier for me. So, you know, if you know, there's plenty of ways to cook an egg. So if you know, you find a method that's good for you, definitely use that, because the more comfortable you are with the reassembly, the more likely that you are actually going to disassemble this weapon and actually clean it, give it the good cleaning that it deserves after you've put a couple hundred or a couple thousand rounds through it. So I'm going to zoom back out. Alright. And then there's a little hole right in the frame there where the recoil spring recesses. the guide rod and recoil spring recesses. So you're just going to slide that in there. And then from here, you're going to take your slide, and there's a little hole in your slide right there. And you're going to put the pointed end of that little guide rod right through that hole. And you just want to be careful on this part. Pull straight back. The little guide rod is going to go flying out. And then you slide it back. You push your takedown lever back up. It'll click in place. And then rack your slide a couple of times. And we have completely reassembled this weapon. We're going to put the magazine back in. Going to drop the hammer. And presto changeo. We have a reassembled Walther P22. And one last finishing touch, going to put my laser right back on there. Feels kind of naked without the laser there. So, got my little futuristic space gun right here. So, if you guys have any questions on the disassembly and reassembly of the P22, feel free to contact me anytime. You guys have a good day.